Welcome in everybody to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. It's time to look ahead at the early value of lines for week 4 in the NFL, and who better to help me out than the Undertaker himself, Andrew Erickson. Erickson, it was a wacky, wild week 3. It was one where, as Sunday dragged on, I thought to myself, I'm going to be very careful about week 3. This feels like a lot of chalk, a lot of weird stuff. I'm going to back off a little bit, and I'm glad I did, because it was panic at the disco everywhere. And the one thing that I stayed true to was my Minnesota Vikings upset special of the week. We talked about it on the Thursday show. It came through. Let's go Vikings. I'm repping the Viking stuff today. The Purple People Eaters ate the heart of the Houston Texans. But a week 3, Erickson, it's still going on. We got 2 Monday night games tonight. Some crazy stuff there. I mean, big takeaways from you. Some of these upsets, like, was Bryce Young really just the problem all along for the Carolina Panthers? Because it seems like it.
Yes, he was. He was the problem.
Wow.
And now they're talking about how, we're getting trade requests. We're not going to trade him. I think his stock just went down, right? After how great,
yeah, you should trade him.
How great Andy Dalton was able to play. He was the first quarterback this season to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns because scoring's not a thing anymore. Just if you're just tuning in right now, nobody scores points anymore. Underdogs are covering at an unreal rate. Underdogs are winning outright an unreal rate. It's more fun to bet on the underdog because nobody's scoring, so the games are always close, and you always got a shot. So that's how I've kind of been absorbing. I was more on the underdogs this week, and it was more fun because teams aren't blowing out other teams. It's not as easy to do it. So it was a fun week 3, really wacky, and looking forward to breaking down week 4.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get after it, everybody, and let's talk about week 4 in the NFL. Let's start with maybe a short week is a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys. You don't have too much time to dwell in the past because they are going to head to New York to play the New York Football Giants, fresh off their big upset win themselves against the Cleveland Browns. The New York Giants are 4.5-point underdogs right now on Betting Pros. 43.5 is the number, and you got plus 185 on the Giants to beat the Cowboys. This feels like the get-right game here for the Cowboys to me, but Andrew, from what you've seen out of the Cowboys, is the 4.5 too much, not enough? What do you think?
Well, we know one thing about the Cowboys, and this is going against everything I've already said, but they only play in blowouts. I mean, if you watched this game last week, it was a blowout. I know that they were able to rally and get some points on the board. That game was not competitive. The Ravens were destroying the Dallas Cowboys. They got an onside kick, which never happens, especially with the new rules. So they got really lucky to kind of make that game look a lot closer than it was. But every game Dallas plays is a blowout in either direction. Either they're getting blown out or they're killing the team they're playing. We've seen this story before. Dallas against the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, they're coming off a win. They're feeling good. Short week. I think this is where just Dallas just crushes because that's what they do. It's not enough for me. I looked at this. I think it should be closer to Dallas by a touchdown because I've seen what this team can do when they are humming, and it's usually after they play really bad they start to hum. So I like the under because I think that both offensive lines have a lot of issues. You saw the Giants swarming after Deshaun Watson in week 3. Dak Prescott was under duress by the Ravens. That's the one part of the Giants that I do like is their defensive line and their pass rush. So again, primetime unders, those have been hitting at a high rate. I like the under at 43.5, and I like the Dallas Cowboys to cover the 4.5-point spread.
I think you see the end of Ezekiel Elliott too. It was a dreadful performance by him. I know the game script wasn't in his favor either, but I think it's over. I start looking for those props early in this game too for Rico Dowdle. We'll talk about that one, Bogman and I'm sure we hit the Thursday Night Football preview later in the week when, of course, you subscribe to the YouTube channel here on Betting Pros. You can stay on top of all of that. All right, before we get to the Sunday games, a quick little note here. We've got another giveaway here on Betting Pros YouTube channel. A signed Nick Chubb helmet giveaway is still available. And if you want a chance to win the signed Nick Chubb helmet for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest and complete the form and either download the Betting Pros app, leave a review of the Betting Pros podcast, or subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X and TikTok and Betting Pros NFL on Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive, and we'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. So make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and when you can claim your prize of the Nick Chubb autographed helmet. So subscribe to Betting Pros right now on the YouTube as well. Drop your comments below and make sure you ring that bell till it goes ding, because maybe that Nick Chubb helmet has your name on it. Let's get to Sunday's action here in the 1 o'clock games. Let's kick things off with New Orleans and Atlanta. Atlanta, tough loss for them. got hosed on that call. No way to put it. New Orleans finally turned into a pumpkin. Way to go, Derek Carr. The Atlanta Falcons are now -1.5 favorites at home. Feels about right to me. 45.5 is the total for this game. -125 on the Falcons on the money line. I go to the money line on this one. I go into the Falcons. I think the Falcons are a work in progress, and I think the Falcons are going to continue to push things in the right direction. That's my feeling. That's my takeaway. New Orleans, very disappointing against the Eagles. A situation where the Eagles, Erickson, were not at full strength without A.J. Brown, and then Devontae Smith comes out of that game, and frankly, kind of disappointing. So I'm on Team Atlanta here. Where are you when it comes to Falcons and Saints?
I actually like the Saints here to bounce back. When you look at what happened in this past game, Rashid Shaheed had a couple big plays that just didn't end up panning out. You know, the first 2 weeks of the season, he was on fire. He was making all those big plays downfield. In this game, he has over 5 on his 5 targets. So you didn't see those big passing plays downfield. And the Saints lost their starting center right at the beginning of the game. So that throws everything out of whack. An offensive line that we had concerns about entering the year didn't show up in the first 2 weeks. But when you lose your starting center in the beginning of the game, that kind of throws everything into whack. So I think that kind of caught the Saints off guard. You're trying to adjust on the fly with a week of preparation, knowing they don't have Eric McCoy, or I'm not sure what his injury is long term, but that's kind of, I think they'll be more prepared. And when you look at what's the Falcons' biggest weakness still to this day, they still don't have a pass rush. It's non-existent. They can't rush the passer. The only team that has a worse pressure rate than the Falcons this year through 3 games is the Carolina Panthers. So again, Derek Carr, why was he so good the first 2 weeks? No pressure. They were not getting pressure on him. So I think if they're able to prepare without McCoy, I think that we can get back to what we were seeing from that offense the first 2 weeks of the season and not what we saw last week. So I like the Saints here.
You're hanging out with Welsh too much. You know, things get thrown out of whack, not into whack.
Oh my
I just want to say he's way too much time with the Welsh you're spending.
Well, I mean, I'm on like half the shows with him this year. So.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And it shows. So we're going to have to sit down and have a meeting about that later this week. Let's get to the Steelers and Colts. This one's in Indianapolis. The Steelers are 1.5 point favorites on the road. 38.5 is the number. Whenever you see the Steelers, it's going to have a 3 to begin the over-under most days. -122 on the money line for the Pittsburgh Steelers, +102 for the Indianapolis Colts. I got to tell you here, like the discipline of the Steelers, this is what they do. They drag you down to their level. They boring it up. Fields is 3-0. I'm taking Pittsburgh here with the 1.5. I think they're going to go on the road. They're going to play defense. They're going to be boring. They're going to control the football. And unfortunately, it's going to be a rough start to the year for the Colts, a team that I had high aspirations for, but they just don't look like they're in sync quite yet, and I just don't know about that defense. That's going to be a tough day for me, and I feel like every W, the Pittsburgh Steelers get a little stronger. Erickson, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I love the Steelers in the spot. I don't really care that it's on the road. What's the big difference? And now I know the Steelers are dealing with a couple injuries on their offensive line, so that is a little concerning. Sure. But the Colts,
it would be more concerning if Indy had a defense that I cared about.
If the Colts had a defensive line that could stop the run, they stopped the run against the Bears, who they just can't run the football. So it doesn't really matter. So I think that this is the perfect spot for Arthur Smith and this offense to hum. And you look at what's the pressure point. The thing with the Colts, that's their biggest problem, especially offensively, is they're just not running enough plays. Right? That's why they're all suffering in fantasy. That's why you're not seeing any type of fireworks, because Anthony Richardson can't get any type of rhythm. So that's why he's so inaccurate, because he's not developing any type of rapport with his receivers, because they never have the ball, because the defense is getting killed by the run and they don't have any time of possession. So it's really probably one of the worst draws when you're looking at the Colts and their offense and their just team in general to draw the Steelers on a 3-game winning streak. It doesn't matter where this game is being played. I think that the Steelers, I agree. It's -1.5 is not enough.
I got to tell you, dude, I feel like this one is going to be 2.5 by the time we get to Sunday. Like, I think this one's going to move. I would be getting it. This is my favorite early line. I want to jump on Pittsburgh right now, because I think as more people have time to marinate on it, they're going to feel more and more confident with the Steelers. And I think this is going to change a little bit. The value is going to be gone. Minnesota, undefeated, 3-0, going against the Green Bay Packers. This one's in Green Bay. Malik Willis, eater of worlds. Malik Willis, 2-0. What a time to be alive. Malik Willis, Sam Darnold, just your normal NFL quarterbacks getting the job done here. Andy Dalton. I mean, what a crazy week it was. But maybe we get Jordan Love back for this one. That's going to impact this line. -2.5 Green Bay is the favorite right now. Makes sense. Understandably so, especially with that potential looming. 44.5 is the total, +116 on Minnesota. Now, if anything, Andrew, for me, The over is where I'm leaning a little bit here on this one, because I do think if Love was practicing last week, it might stand to reason that he's going to give it a go this week. And if so, that elevates this offense tremendously, even if he's limited. So I do think this is going to change the dynamic quite a bit of the Green Bay Packers. Hopefully the MRI for Darnold comes back clean. It seems like it's just precautionary. More on that to come. But what's your take on Minnesota Green Bay? Any early value for you?
Yeah, I think it really depends on what side you're trying to lean on. If you like Green Bay, you want to back them at home, you should take it now before they announce, oh, well, Jordan Love is going to start this game. And we're probably not going to know about that because we've seen, LaFleur play pretty coy with announcing who he's going to play. He's had Jordan Love be questionable leading up to game time. So he's probably going to say, oh, I don't know who's going to play. Maybe he'll play. But if he's practicing in full, I think it's going to be pretty obvious that he's probably going to start this game. Now, I do agree also the value is kind of on the over there because it's suppressed because we're not sure if Love is still going to play. But at the same time, do I really want to take the over against the Vikings defense? Man, the Vikings defense is for real. So that's my only hesitancy. But I admit that it is pretty low depending on, how good we've seen these offenses. But maybe because Jordan Love is coming back from an injury, maybe it's not a smash type of start. So I think for me, it's a matter of, hey, wait for Jordan Love to be announced, see money coming on the Packers, and then take the Vikings, on the road as underdog. So again, it really depends on who you like in this game to bet your timing.
Jacksonville Jaguars will play tonight, and we'll see what they do. But in the meantime, the Houston Texans are 2-1. They're at home. We don't know the health of Joe Mixon or Dameon Pierce or what that backfield looks like. Going back home is the best medicine here. In-division matchup here. I'm worried about Jacksonville starting the year 0-3, and if so, man, oh man, maybe things just start kind of falling apart. Texans coming off a bad loss. They're 4.5-point favorites at home. 45.5 is the number. You get plus 170 on the Jacksonville Jaguars upset. Now, this is one of these dangerous, trappy kind of games for me. Andrew, what's your first instinct tell you? Any early value in your mind?
I don't like the value on Houston right now because I do think that we see a little bit more from Jacksonville. When you look at what they've done the first 2 weeks of the season, I think they've just run really, really bad. I mean, they should have beat Miami straight up in week 1. And in week 2, it was a rainy game. Turnovers kind of killed them. They weren't able to generate a lot of big plays. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to show out a little bit against Buffalo. Maybe they don't win, but I think that's going to put more money on Jacksonville against Houston coming off a devastating loss. And we've talked about Houston, how they're just not a good team against the spread. They just don't cover spreads. So again, with the number at 4.5, kind of that in between a field goal and a touchdown, I like the value on Jacksonville because I think this line is going to move 4 into their favor after we watch them play on Monday.
The Rams pulled a rabbit out of their hat. They're taking on the Chicago Bears this week. The Bears are 1.5-point favorites. The total for this game is 40.5. You got even money on the Rams to win this game. Minus 120 on the Bears. I mean, look, it's practically a pick 'em. I understand why. I think it's just chaotic, right? There's so many deficits here with the Rams, but yet they just came off this huge upset victory. The Bears have been kind of maligned a little bit, and they certainly, showed a little bit more yesterday. So where are you at when it comes to the Rams and Bears? This one, my first instinct is just give me the Rams even money. Give me the better coach, the better quarterback, and more often than not, that's a better investment.
100% on the Rams. This was one of my favorite when I was looking at the early lines. I'm like, give me Rams. I was able to see Rams plus 2.5, Rams plus 1.5. I don't care if they're playing in Soldier Field. Sean McVay knows Shane Waldron. Okay. Like he's underneath that tree. And unfortunately, this root is not sprouting. Unfortunately, in Chicago, we do not like what we're seeing from Shane Waldron. This offense is a mess for the Bears.
He just realized he still has Cole Kmet. Nice.
It's not good. So again, we've seen this before where head coaches don't get fired, offensive coordinators get fired if things don't start to change. So I think Waldron's days may be numbered with Caleb Williams. In this current, again, he has upside. We can all see it. We can see the big plays, but we're also seeing just this chaos around him. And I don't think that gets solved. I guess I know the Rams defense is horrible, but I mean, keep betting him out. It's Matthew Stafford. Give me Matthew Stafford as an underdog. He's so gutsy, going to make every throw, going to take every hit. Give me that guy as an underdog every single time.
Yeah, you just can't let down too. You can't have a win like that against the 49ers and then go to Chicago and lay a turd. Like, you just can't do that. I think Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford understand that. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why, again, when you're looking at these games where you're like, okay, it's basically a pick 'em, I go, coach, quarterback. Oh, they're both on one side? Okay, give me that side. So I'm with you 100%. By the way, I'm looking at the BettingPros app right now as we're doing the show, and I'm looking 7-1 in week 3, in the chaos of week 3. See, little discipline's good. I didn't go too crazy. I kept my composure. some crazy stuff on the board that I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to go too nuts this week. And that's what I love about the Betting Pros app is I can track all my progress, see what's going on there at all times. And again, if you haven't already, you should be downloading the Betting Pros app. You should be tracking your own bets. You should be using the tools the way Andrew and I are to make the best decisions we possibly can. And if you haven't already, download the Betting Pros app on iOS, on Android. Sync your sports books for free. You can track all your bets. Doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, baseball, forget it. You can track all of it. And you can track all the line movement too as the week goes on. And you get custom line alerts from the Betting Pros app. So these games that we're talking about, you'll be able to get all of those updates as the week goes on. Anytime there's movement, boom, you can set it. And if you're waiting for something to happen and it happens, you can jump on it and be early. So again, download the app, follow us at bettingpros.com/Erickson/Joe. So that way you can tail us too and make sure you're doing the best you can to make yourself the most profitable bettor you possibly can be. All right, let's get to the next one here on our list of games for week 4. We just took care of Chicago, LA. Let's talk about Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. So Philly's running out of wide receivers. Tampa Bay, what a disaster. You're at home and the Denver Broncos beat up on you. This one really just straight up pissed me off. It pissed me off, hated it, very upset about it. The Philadelphia Eagles -2.5 favorites. I don't know. This feels fishy to me, Erickson. On the road, without A.J. Brown, without Devonta Smith, they're not going to have either of them for this game. 46.5 is the number, +116 for Tampa. I might just go right to +116 for Tampa. That's where my eye goes. Where does yours go?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why we have so much faith that the Eagles should be favored in this game.
I don't get it.
That's kind of my first inclination looking at this. Again, Tampa Bay, yes, they laid an egg against Bo Nix in the Denver, but some guy, you just play bad games sometimes. Sometimes that happens. Stuff can be fluky. You know, the Buccaneers were feeling themselves after they had that big win against the Detroit Lions, and then again come out against an inferior opponent, and then they just kind of like lay an egg. So for me, yeah, the Eagles are kind of the walking wounded a little bit here, and Baker Mayfield again very upset after that game. I think he's going to get the edge back here. You don't have to concerns about, oh, Surtain's going to take away Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans could have a monster game here. Chris Godwin's still going to be involved. So, and again, I think with Buccaneers too, they didn't have Vita Vea in this last game. Like he's one of their defensive leaders in that interior. And you saw it come up big where the Broncos were able to protect Bo Nix. There wasn't any interior pressure. So I like the Buccaneers here at home +2.5.
I'm with you on that one. All right, let's get to the next one. The Bengals. We'll see what the Bengals do tonight. But Carolina is hosting Cincinnati. They are 5.5 point underdogs at home. Now, Andy Dalton all of a sudden made this team relevant for a moment. 44.5 is the number, +215. Look, I know it was fun. The Cincinnati Bengals should go handle their business. However, I'm kind of with Carolina in the points here. Like I also feel like depending on what Cincinnati shows up tonight, if Cincinnati blows out the Commanders, this line's going to move to 6.5. So I would actually wait on this one. If you're watching the show on Monday, let's wait and see. If that doesn't happen, it'll stay at 5. I'm still comfortable with the 5.5. But I think this one will move a full point if Cincinnati just whoops on the Commanders tonight. What are your thoughts? What's the outlook for you?
No, I think you're spot on with that because I expect the Bengals to destroy the Washington Commanders in that defense, but then I don't expect them to then cover another large spread as a touchdown favorite on the road, in back-to-back weeks. Again, they're playing at home tonight, but I don't expect them to have a monster game back-to-back weeks, so especially on a short week. So, yeah, I think that you got to wait and take the Carolina Panthers when the line moves to +6.5.
Okay, moving on to the next one here. The Denver Broncos get a win. The New York Jets get a win. The Jets are 8-point favorites at home against the Denver Broncos. 38.5 is the number, +310 for the Denver Broncos. So Bo Nix ran amok. Look, we saw the Jets defense handle the Patriots offense pretty well. I have to imagine at home with extra rest. We saw that two-headed monster in the backfield of Braylon Allen and Breece Hall. Like things look pretty good here for the Jets. They looked excellent. I know Denver kind of pulled one out there. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? I say no, but man, 8 is a lot for me to get to.
It is, but we also have a little bit of revenge with Nathaniel Hackett going against
Oh,
Sean Payton.
the revenge of him being an awful, awful person at his job. He was the worst coach I've ever seen. Ugh.
Honestly, I'm not touching this game. I don't like it. -8 is a lot. And the Broncos have shown that they're not going to go down quietly. Like they're going to chuck the ball and try to get back in the game no matter what, which I don't like. And at least unlike the Patriots, they do have at least some personnel to do that. Like they've been playing from behind all season. right? So except for the last week. So I think that they can still kind of keep things tight. And yeah, 8 is too much for me. So I'm just going to probably just shy away. Give me the under.
I'm just good. Yeah. Under's probably the best bet. I think maybe just individual stuff. I stay away from this game. This game bothers me. Washington, Arizona. Again, I want to see what Washington does tonight. I don't have a full take on this game quite yet. 5 is the number here where Arizona's favored at home. 49.5 is the total. Plus 195 for the Washington Commanders on the money line. Erickson, look, I think Arizona is another one of these work in progress teams. This is an opportunity where they're getting a lesser opponent at home. You know, they've had to play the Buffalo Bills. They've had to play the Detroit Lions. Like, they've had that schedule stacked. This feels like an Arizona win. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm there with the 5 yet. Where are you at with this one?
So I actually like the under in this game. I know that the Commanders defense is horrible, but it's a 49.5, right? That's
a big number.
Massive number for, again, we're talking about how offenses are down in scoring. And this is like, I think the largest over-under, or maybe one of the largest over-unders on this week 4 slate. So for me, again, like, I don't know how great this Commanders offense really is. They have very questionable offensive line. Yes, Jaden Daniel is fun. He runs around, but it's not like he's orchestrating drives that are generating a ton of touchdowns. I mean, they beat the Giants by kicking field goals, right? So they're not converting to a lot of touchdowns. So again, I think that this game is going to be not as high scoring. Again, just going back to the fact that scoring is down overall at 49.5. I'm just going to bet against that. And like, I think Cardinals take care of business, but I'll just take the under.
Speaking of unders, New England Patriots, they played to the under on Thursday. Told you so. I hope you're watching that Thursday Night Football stuff, man. I got a lot to live up to, too. Thursday Night Football, nailed the 2-leg parlay of that one on the show with the anytime touchdown score for Breece Hall and the under in the game. 3 for 3 on last week's Monday Night Bets. I don't know. Maybe I should just retire, Erickson. I don't know. Like, maybe this is it. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm going to do my best to repeat this.
Retire on top.
just thank you, folks. Good night. Patriots, 49ers. The 49ers are 10.5 point favorites in this game. 40.5 is the number. The Patriots for upset is plus 440. I mean, look, the Patriots are no good, Erickson. I think you and I both recognize that. That offensive line is dreadful. But we also thought the Rams' offensive line was dreadful. The thing they don't have is they don't have Stafford. They don't have McVay. What they are getting is a San Francisco 49er team at home that's going to be pissed off. I think it's going to be an ugly situation. 10 is a lot. I'm staying away from this one. I got no love for this game. Can New England do its part in this game? Probably not. So maybe the under is my best notion for this. This feels like a, I don't know, 27-10 kind of a deal. Like maybe more. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I kind of like the over in this game.
Well, but what's that score? And I guess here's the question. Maybe I look for the team total of the Patriots and bet the under on whatever that is. Like maybe that's where I live. And I just don't even muck around with the combined total because there's a lot of variance here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like 10.5 points at home against any team. Again, this is the NFL, right? That's hard to cover that type of spread, but we've seen the 49ers team at home be a Death Star and just totally blow teams. And you said they just blew that lead against the Rams. That's a horrible loss. So how do you lick your wounds? Is you come back and destroy the Patriots.
The Patriots. Yeah.
So,
well, but what's the team total in your mind if you were setting it for the 49ers? What would that number be? 35.5?
35.5 points.
I don't know. I mean, is that too much? Am I being glib?
I mean, that's why I just like the game over, right? I mean, the Patriots, again, turnovers is a thing. They can generate turnovers on defense, but it also does depend like how many of the 49ers weapons come back. Did you get George Kittle back in this game? So I don't know. Maybe the under. Again, I have to probably look a little deeper again because I have to watch this game as a Patriots fan. I know they're not going to win.
You don't have to do anything.
No, I do. I bleed the blue, white, and red.
I do too, but I don't have to watch them bleed. Like,
there's going to be bleeding.
You know, there's other games to be watching. It's one thing if it's standalone, of course. That's a standalone. But it's 4:00. I could be watching things like the Cleveland Browns and the Raiders. You can't
watch the Dallas Cowboys though, because they're
I'm watching them on Thursday night. So Cleveland, Vegas. Here we go. 1.5 point underdogs. The Las Vegas Raiders are. What? God, the Raiders are infuriating. You beat the Ravens at home, and then you get in their building, and then you get destroyed by the Carolina Panthers in your own building. I got nothing. I got nothing, Erickson. 37.5. Minus 115 on the money line for the Cleveland Browns. Minus 105 for the Vegas Raiders. I'm running away from this game. This game is a hot mess to me. I want nothing to do with it this week. I'm very picky week 4. Very picky.
I like the under, and I
Okay.
like the Browns. I like the Browns on the road as favorites because Max Crosby's dealing with an injury, and he is the heart and soul of that defense. And if he's not 100%, then the Raiders don't have a chance, right? Because he's their best player. He's their best player, no doubt about it, in my opinion. Especially, he's the one that is the engine to that defense. So if they don't have him, especially with the biggest weakness of the Browns is pass protection, they should get those tackles back. I believe that Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills are still trying to get back after missing so much time. If those guys are healthy. Look, Cleveland is this up and down team, right? One week they play horrible, the next week they play good, the next week they play horrible. So I will back Cleveland here as road favorites.
All right. One of the great things here about the BettingPros app is also the systems tool. And our new BettingPros systems tool is designed to help you find winning strategies and make smarter bets. So you can customize the betting systems by sport, by bet type, and time frame to find the best opportunities using real-time data and expert analysis. So you can track your performance of different betting systems over time and optimize your bets to increase your chances of success. Again, download the app today or BettingPros and elevate your betting strategies to make smarter bets. Let's see if we can make a smart bet on this next game, Andrew. It's the Kansas City Chiefs coming off a lucky victory at the end there. Boy, they get hosed on that call, the Atlanta Falcons. Terrible call at the end of that game. Chiefs get a victory. They're 9.5-point favorites on the road against the Chargers. Herbert's health in question. 39 is the number for this game. Again, very heavy Kansas City Chiefs, plus 320 on the money line for the Chargers. Like that's the value here, is the Chargers just to pull off a freakish upset. That's the value of this game. The question is, do I want to bet on it? I think the answer is no.
So it's interesting because you look at the Chiefs, right, and what they've done. How close are they to being an 0-3 team?
Very. Kelsey looks washed. Kelsey looks washed. The backfield is a mess. I mean...
Yeah, they look dysfunctional on offense, right? And you think, it's Andy Reid, they're going to figure it out, but Mahomes is running around. And yes, again, this isn't their time to shine, right? We don't care about the regular season. We just want to get to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, right? And we know they're going to get to the playoffs, potentially be the number 1 seed, especially as they beat in other AFC powerhouses. So yes, I agree with you. I think the value is on the Chargers. Now, is Justin Herbert going to play in this game? We don't know, but my point is, if the Chargers beat the Chiefs, it's not because of their quarterback play. It's because they run the football on the Chiefs. Like, that's how they win this game. So yes. I would wait, honestly, and be like, Herbert's out. Okay, the line moves more on the Chiefs because it's Taylor Heineke. Whatever. It doesn't matter because I don't think Justin Herbert's going to be the reason why they win or lose this game. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins.
Stick?
Yeah. Easton Stick. I think Taylor Heineke might actually... Stick was horrible in the preseason. I think that's why they went and traded for Taylor Heineke.
I'm just having fun.
Here's
your parlay of the week. You take the Chargers and the Patriots on the money line and just chaos. Just chaos.
Oh my dude, that's the best way to enjoy the afternoon slate, Ravy.
I mean, look, you're probably lighting your money on fire, but
you can bet on the favorite and light your money on fire that way too.
You know what you do? You get those bonus bets. Yep. Right? DraftKings gives you the bonus bet. From all my missed
touchdown bets.
You take the bonus bet. You throw it on the Chargers this week and you watch it and you see, hey, they're having some fun. It was found money anyway. Buffalo, Baltimore, next one on our list here. The Baltimore Ravens are 2.5-point favorites at home. 44.5 is the number. Plus 115 for the Buffalo Bills to win this one. Okay, so Ravens looked great. Ravens are a good team. Ravens, I think, just got off to a weird, wacky start. This is exactly what they needed, a huge win in Dallas. I think they're going to be right here. I'm taking Baltimore with the points here at minus 2.5. I think Baltimore is a better football team than the Buffalo Bills. I don't care what the Bills do or don't do on Monday night. I think there's early value in this one. If you think Buffalo is going to trounce Jacksonville and you think this one shrinks to 1.5, then you would wait on it, and I don't bet it now. But Andrew, what's your approach to Bills Ravens?
So like I said, I think Jacksonville is going to be plucky in this matchup against the Bills. So I think that you're going to get some value waiting for. So I like the Buffalo side here because I get Josh Allen as an underdog, right? That when I can bet on elite quarterbacks as underdogs, again, with the Eagles and Saints, right? It was Jalen Hurts as an underdog, right? Last week, the Ravens opened up as underdogs, and I was like, I'm going to bet Lamar Jackson as an underdog. Great. I feel great about it. When Josh Allen played the Dolphins, he was an underdog. and they won outright. So when I get these elite quarterbacks as underdogs, that's the approach I want to go with. So I like Josh Allen and the Bills here, but like I said, I think that the value is going to move in the favor of the Bills after they play Jacksonville. So I'm going to wait on this one.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Let's go to Tennessee, Miami. Ugh. Miami's defense is dreadful. I think you do get Tyler Huntley in this game. I really do. I think you saw enough. Thompson just
he also got hurt. So
yeah. I mean, injury was not, whatever. It doesn't matter. Even if he wasn't hurt, I don't care. I don't want to see it again. Tennessee Titans are 0-3. Will Levis is terrible. They just lost to Malik Willis. They just lost to Malik Willis in their own building. Oh my God. Good on LaFleur. LaFleur must be loving life. He's the head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
He has to be winning coach of the year, right?
He's not. No, Harbaugh is the number one guy. Harbaugh, McDonald. Going into yesterday, it was, I don't know today. Going into yesterday, it was Harbaugh, it was McDonald, and it was Kevin O'Connell. That's a good
Kevin
trio.
O'Connell, yeah. I mean, I think LaFleur should be up there, though. I mean, over McDonald. McDonald has played crappy teams all year. Okay,
Doesn't matter.
Reno against Bo Nix, Patriots, and Skylar Thompson.
It's Skylar Thompson.
Here we go. Coach of the year. Well, they're playing the Lions this week. I guarantee those odds are going to go way down.
Dolphins at home, +1.5 underdogs. I'm sorry. I can't get there. Give me the points with Miami. 37.5 is the number. -112 for the Tennessee Titans on the money line. -105 on the Miami Dolphins. So you know what? Actually, yeah, this is easy. I'm on the Miami side of this one. I think things come around. By the way, as we're doing the show, update on Justin Herbert, re-aggravated his high ankle sprain. X-rays came back negative. Herbert mentioned will be monitored throughout the week. So we'll see how that goes. Again, hold your breath and hope. But more reason. Watch that number go to +400.
Early take here. I mean, he's not going to play because, again, Harbaugh doesn't need Justin Herbert.
Well, then I can't use my bonus bet. I can't do it. I can't use my bonus bets if he doesn't play. I can't do that. It's a waste of the bonus bet.
You're not going to take the Chargers to win with Taylor Heineke against the Chiefs? Didn't the Chiefs lose to Aiden O'Connell last year, dude?
They did at home. If it goes to +500, then I might have no choice. I might have to take my $10.
I mean, we see so much crazy stuff happen.
That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm saying it. I think it's early. It's only Monday, Andrew. Thursday's show is a few days away. It might be the upset special of the week. I'm just saying it's a tease. We'll see how it goes. Back to Miami and Tennessee. I'm on Miami in this game. I just am. I know it was terrible. They were on the road. I get it. It's like
tough place.
I think Huntley's a good quarterback. I think if we've shown him with the Baltimore Ravens, if you give him weapons, he'll be okay. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that I was watching that game closely, obviously, because I like the Dolphins, and they were actually. They were like the Seahawks did not put them away till very, very.
No, but the defense just sucks. Yes, the problem is I don't think Will Levis can.
Yeah, Will Levis can't take advantage of the defense, and you look at what Miami can do offensively. I mean, everybody played bad in that game. Like Tyreek Hill was dropping passes. They were involving like these backup tight ends. Alec Ingold out of the backfield, seeing a bunch of targets. I had no idea. Like I didn't think it was a good game plan. Back at home against the Titans, who just got ripped up by Malik Willis of all quarterbacks. I think McDaniel is able to kind of get the ship right on offense, especially, if they move with Tyler Huntley, he can do a little bit more, again, a Pro Bowl quarterback. So I like Dolphins here as well.
Yeah, just give me Dolphins straight up money line, -110. It's the best value I can find. Just let me have it. All right, let's get to the last one here. Again, these are Monday night games too. So Tennessee, Miami, Monday night. Congratulations, America. And then you're going to be getting another Monday Night Football game at 8:15 start. The other one starts at 7:30. Seattle and Detroit. Now this one's more interesting. Are we gonna finally get to find out who Seattle is? Maybe. They're 4.5 point underdogs on the road in Detroit. 48.5 is the number. +170 for the Seattle Seahawks. I like Seattle with the points here. Andrew, what are your thoughts?
I think that we're gonna see Seattle get exposed here. Against
we're on opposite ends. This is going to be fun Monday night. The text chain is back, folks. We're going to be back and texted on Monday night. It's going to
I mentioned it before. They haven't played a legitimate offense. And when they were going to, their quarterback got hurt. So they played Skylar Thompson instead.
But has Detroit really blown the doors? Detroit's my Super Bowl pick from the NFC. They've been fine, but they haven't, to me, asserted their dominance yet. Where I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, that's the Detroit Lions I want to see.
Well, I think that really this is the statement game. Yeah, I think this is going to be an eye opener for both sides and talk about how, these are two NFC powerhouses. Seattle's undefeated. Yeah, well, they're not going to be undefeated after this game.
You know what I might have to do? If I'm buying into this narrative, I might have to buy into it all the way. if I think Seattle has a shot in this game, and I do, this might be the time to jump on the line for them for the NFC West. Because then they'll be 4-0. And then when our Patriots take it to the 49ers, we'll see what happens. All jokes aside, though. All jokes aside. Seattle, again, they can only play who's in front of them. Their schedule is not as bad as some other teams.
Well, they haven't played any of their NFC West teams.
They haven't. But the thing is, all their NFC rivals right now are, well, you know, the Rams are weak and the 49ers are weak. They're both at their weakest point in terms of health. Like, those games are coming up. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. So maybe Seattle finally gets that corrective moment. Maybe not. I don't know. I think either way, the best bet here is to bet on Seattle at least covering the points. Maybe not winning outright, but covering the points. But we'd love to hear from you. Drop your comments below. What are your early line values for week 4 in the NFL? Don't forget to download the Betting Pros app today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel too. Drop your comments, ring the bell for notifications till it goes ding, and go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest as well to join us for all the fun we've got going on. And that Nick Chubb helmet's not going to give away itself. Again, bettingpros.com/contest. That's the place to go to sign up to win that today. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.